Not going to lie. Not going to front. Not going to do whatever the kids call it. It's one of the worst losses that we've had in the last few years.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And Spartan friends, Spartan family, Wolverines fans, I know you guys are in here. And of course, once again, for the third year in a row, why wouldn't you be? God, this has got to be like Christmas every year for you guys now at this point. Yeah, please rate, review, subscribe, do whatever makes you happy. And if that's, a Michigan State fan listening to this, there's probably nothing that can make you happy until, until Purdue comes to town. That'll be fun. If you want to reach out, lockedonspartans@gmail.com. And look, I'll address the elephant in the room right now if you're watching on YouTube. I'm in the saddest recording space in the world right now. I'm literally sitting crisscross applesauce on a tile floor in a laundry room closet right now in a hotel, which, all things considered, it's fine. The reason I'm here is because my wife and two children are sleeping out there, and I gotta record somewhere, right, guys? So this explains that, which is a very poetic place to record. Just the saddest, most uncomfortable setup, because that was it was a quick game, at least. 3 hours, the most uncomfortable game you've ever could have seen in your entire life. And let me also get to this right now. The little kerfuffle after the game. Not going to spend too much time on it. We've done this dance many times, not just with the tunnel incident, but anytime there's a little scandal between two teams that have a little scuffle. Yeah, anyone with two eyeballs can see Michigan instigated it. Okay, they're going to be the bigger fan base. They have the media in their corner. They're going to say, oh, no, the MSU player perpetuated it. And both sides are just going to agree what they saw. Of course, I'm going to think Michigan State did nothing wrong in this, just like Michigan fans, as Khalil Mullins is stomping on someone from Michigan State's side, is going to think that they did nothing wrong. So let's just get that out of the way right now. No one's going to change anyone's mind right here. All right, let's talk about the actual game. Guys, I don't think it's hyperbole, and I know I do that a lot on this show. I'm an emotional person. It's one of my worst traits, and Lord, let me tell you, I got a lot of bad traits. I'm a pretty emotional person, but I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds here and saying that. Well, that's one of the worst losses in quite some time here for Michigan State. Now, unfortunately, we don't have really any shortage of losses in the last few years to talk about, but why was that loss so bad? Point blank, that was gettable. That was a very gettable team. That's just not one of the worst Michigan teams that you will see in this generation. That's one of the worst teams you will see in the Big Ten. Now, I'm not going to do this whole song and dance of saying, oh, Michigan State should have won. Oh, Michigan got lucky. No, look, right now, Michigan State's in year one of a rebuild, all right? We are working on a lot of things. I don't think that's really stepping out of bounds right there. So could you say that both teams are on the same playing field? Michigan taking a drastic step down from their national title? Sure, okay. Fact of the matter is that you probably should have won this game if you're Michigan State. Just one small issue here. One team did the little things correctly. One team, well, they kind of defecated on their shoes at any given time that they had a chance to do something. And, we're talking little things like, penalties. Michigan, of course, had zero. And I'm not going to talk about, convenient they had zero. No, let's talk about the ones that Michigan State did have, right? The delay of game to start the game. Way more on that later. And then at the very end, oh my God, we're actually moving the ball. This is great. We got first and down. That's right. Okay, another false start from the offensive line, which really put you behind the 8 ball. That's how you get to 2nd and 12. That's how you eventually get to 4th and 5. But let's talk about more of the little things before we really start railing on all that. All right, the special teams. Okay. Yeah, sure. Michigan had their gaffe like we all expected. Okay, they can't really put a snap down on a field goal. That's something we talked about last week with our guy Chase Glasser. He called that out. All right, we called it out too. That they don't really have a good punter this year. You saw that. You saw that too. You saw the botched extra point. You saw the botched punt at the end of the game that set you up with great field position. And then Michigan State, well, they went back to the days of Ross Ells, and they committed some snafus on their end as well. The 25-yard missed field goal right at the start of the game. And sure, we can make the excuse for Jonathan Kim. That's an awkward hash line. When you're that close, like kicking on that angle is very hard. Point blank, you got to make that, okay? And then, well, the fair catch debacle. And I know Michigan State, they punted. They got out of that little tight corner that they were after the whole fair catch thing when they had the ball at the 6-yard line. Still, call me crazy, would rather have the ball at the 25-yard line to start that drive. That was a drastic step back in special teams. And what do we talk about going into this game? It's that little crap. I want to keep this lockdown job. I'm going to save myself from profanity there. Little crap like that is what's going to change the difference in this game. Just like turnovers. But okay, let's talk about, what really shot you in the foot. And for me, there were 2 drives in the first half that cost you the game. All right. And the first one, conveniently enough, that we're going to talk about was the first drive of the game. All right. You have a 4th and 2. I like to think, guys, rightfully so, have been carrying the water of Jonathan Smith. And I know this was a really bad game. This was a really bad loss to a team that's not that great. I still believe in Jonathan Smith long term. I still believe in this coaching staff by and large. Like that Iowa game wasn't just, a crazy random thing that happened. I believe in the long-term prognosis of this program under Jonathan Smith. But with that said, allow me to criticize the guy once in the last 10 months now at this point. That was a bad game, and not just from Jonathan Smith. I know he's very hands-off during the game from every aspect, basically, right? Except maybe the defense. You could give them the pass right there. But that 4th and 2, ball within the 5-yard line, call the timeout. Call it. And he was interviewed by whoever the wonderful sideline reporter was during the game. And Jenny Taft, I don't know, who cares? And he said, I could have called the timeout, but happy to at least try a field goal there. That's loser talk, okay? Not calling the timeout there is a horrendous, inexcusable decision. You're going for it on 4th and short, not just to get reps in, not just for fun, to make a that's the second time I had to catch myself, to make a freaking statement at the start of the game. Punch the ball in. The fact that he watched that play clock and everyone on offense watched that play clock go down to 0 and just be content with, just 3 points. This isn't Iowa, okay? We thought it was going to be Iowa, but it turns out it wasn't Iowa. You can't win a game with just 3-point field goal attempts. You have to go for the touchdown, all right? That is inexcusable. And by the way, I believe you walked into half with at least one timeout in your pocket, so it didn't really matter in the end. Someone fact-check me on that. Probably should have done that beforehand, but nevertheless, hey, you want to use a timeout? You do it when it's go time right off the bat, all right? Time to score a touchdown. Again, I love Jonathan Smith. I love the hire. He's done a great job with the team this season. That was horrible, all right? I don't know. Maybe he was watching the Dodger game like he talked about during the coaches show earlier in the week. Nice week to joke about that stuff right there. Got to say, didn't really mind about it a few days ago when he said it. Horrible optics now, and a lot of optics on this game right here. Let's talk about more drives because, of course, it wasn't just that one drive that really screwed up the game for Michigan State. It was the last drive of the half. Hey, what else have we? What has this idiot Matt been doing all season, right? Aiden Childs, he has a zillion turnovers, but every time you tune into the Lockdown Spartans show, you can count on me saying, guys, be patient. You know what? I know the turnovers are a thing. It's not good. He's getting better, and I do stand by that. He is getting better. If you don't see any improvement from week 1 to week now, well, that's kind of on you. With that said, though, in what world can you just roll out that far to the right, hold on to the ball for that long? And I know that, Michigan Stadium isn't Autzen Stadium. It's not, Happy Valley. It's not the loudest stadium. I'm going to just go out on a limb here that you can hear a crescendo of fans building up as whoever that guy, Stewart, I think his name is, it doesn't matter, was, going down on you like a lion approaching a gazelle. I think when the crowd gets a little loud, you maybe can think that, someone's a little close to me. I might as well tighten up the ball security right here. Ball pops out, as it often does, unfortunately, this season. And then, Michigan gets 3 points right before they go into halftime. Those are the 2 drives that really cost you the game. And there is a bonus third one. There's a bonus third one because, guys, we haven't even gotten to halftime talking about this game. But first, you need to talk your ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. God, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. All right, guys, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because God forbid the sun, unfortunately is going to rise tomorrow, and NFL will be going on. And right now, hey, for new customers, if you thought after everything you just saw today is a great time to get in on gambling, well, yeah, do it over at FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. America's #1 sportsbook. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. It's FanDuel.com. The hotel was nice enough to leave detergent and bleach in the washer for us. Stay tuned for the third segment to see if I rip open that pack and just rip one of those right there. That's a crazy thing, too. Is never in my wildest dreams I think I'd be this upset about the loss. And I'm talking about going back to the offseason. Michigan just comes off their national title. Michigan State, okay, we're on the ground floor trying to rebuild right now. But that's what stings the absolute most about this loss, is how realistic it was to win this game. And you saw it right off the bat, too. Michigan State, what was the stat? They had 4 trillion yards before Michigan even had 3 yards. And then, Michigan got momentum on the offensive side of the ball, which that in itself is an issue. That's a horrendous offensive unit right there. But I digress, whatever. That's actually going to cycle into the third drive for Michigan State that absolutely shot them in the foot, which ended with the ball being kicked off a foot because, 3rd and 1, you know what, Nate Carter, which, by the way, no, hold on, stay on the ball, Matt. We're going to stay on this third drive. 3rd and 1, we're going to have Nate Carter line up roughly 72 yards behind the center. That center that we're talking about, by the way, his name's Tanner Miller. All right, he's one of the best interior offensive line transfers that we've had in program history. Transfer portal has been open for 5 minutes here. One of the best interior offensive line transfers that you could possibly find. All right. Mid-season All-American last year, ESPN second team All-American, I think. Point blank, that kid can move mountains, Right behind him, the guy he snaps the ball to, that's Aiden Childs. You're paying him more than, probably a lot of assistant coaches on this team. And you know what? He was gifted a lot of physical traits by God himself. Football gods, God himself, whoever you believe in. The man was dealt some great physical traits. And that's a great transfer duo that you have. You ever want to sneak the ball with them? You ever want to use Tanner Miller to put on the Doc Martens and take the boys for a hike and then use the legs that Aiden Childs has and then, just move the ball roughly 30 to 50 inches? You ever just want to do that? Or do you want to look back behind you and, oh, my goodness gracious, hey, Nate Carter, you're still 16 yards behind the line of scrimmage because that's how far back we line you up. Michigan defender's already in the backfield. He got gobbled up. And then out comes a field goal unit, and Jonathan Kim, he drills that one. But that was a horrendous drive right there. And I know that's just nitpicking because by and large, this is not let me be tremendously clear. This is not an anti-Nate Carter thing that I'm doing right now. He had his best game as a Spartan. That's not even arguably best game as a Spartan. Indisputable fact. This man had 56 yards. That was just through catching the ball. All right, carries. He had 19 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown. He ran as if a box of puppies was going to get lit on fire if he did not total at least 150 all-purpose yards. He played with a chip on his shoulder. All right, he knew what this rivalry was all about, and I think a lot of the players by and large did. I'm not going to make this a whole, they just didn't get the rivalry thing. Now, maybe the coaching staff didn't entirely understand. That's a conversation for maybe later, maybe even later this show, but I just don't, for the life of me, get the short yardage situations. And they did sneak the ball against Ohio State a few weeks ago. All right, and of course it got stuffed. Well, that's because Aiden Childs, what is he, 6'3"? He stood up all 6'3", and he got popped immediately. It's easy to teach a kid, you would hope, to just stay low. I'm really getting into the weeds here, really losing my train of thought, but oh my God, that drive absolutely killed you. And you know what, cherry on top, let's mention the fourth drive here. Because, you're down 7. Sure, you had a false start because that's a great untimely penalty. As if there's ever a great time for a penalty. 4th and 5. What do you call? Yes, guys, I get it. Jack Velling was wide open, a lot of you said, on the left side. Here's the problem. Aiden Childs rolled to his right, and that was due to pressure. First of all, I don't think Jack Thorne was ever as open as it looked because that linebacker was ready to undercut that route, okay? And by the time Aiden Childs rolled out, all right, you're making that 6-yard throw, roughly a 40-yard throw by the end of all that, thrown clean across the field. There was no way that was going to work out. On that 4th and 5 play, and I don't want to crucify Brian Lindgren. I know it's very hard on him week 1 because he was more vanilla than the ice cream I enjoy. It has been fine so far this year overall. I actually think the game plan was fine too. That was really ballsy to try to, run this much against Michigan, but it almost worked. Anyway, just to go to that 4th and 5 play call at the very end. I'll say that one more time just so we're on the same page here. The 4th and 5 play call. Not 4th and 18, not 4th and 28, not 4th and 50, 4th and 5. You have one route that's, I guess we can classify as underneath. That Velling route that was, I think, covered decently enough to where that was not going to be an option. Why are my other 3 cats in the end zone right now? Why is Aiden slinging the ball 28 yards downfield into the end? Nothing else is underneath. Couldn't have a running back float out there. You couldn't have anyone run a drag route from the other side of the field. You had to stash 3 guys in the end zone. I don't know about that one, Chief. That one did not work out the way that we all thought it would. But yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's the 4 drives that cost you the game. Again, I think the defense did fine enough. 24 points. They were dealt a short field at the very end of that first half. So if you just want to call it 21 points, I just who cares? That's just such a bad loss. But before we get to your thoughts, because I did tweet out hey, give me your thoughts, and no one's happy about this game. No one else is making excuses or anything like that. Of course not, because that's how Michigan State fans deal with losses. If not for nothing else, we don't really make excuses. We're not going to say oh well, this is just year 1, so it doesn't count. Or how last year we don't say, oh, this is Harlan Barnett. No, we wear the losses. It actually matters. And for the first time in a long time, it really felt like these teams were on an equal playing field. All right, probably since, the 2021 game, certainly both teams were on the same playing field. We all know what happened there. 2020, the COVID year, sure. But 2017, I guess you could say they're on the equal playing field. And Michigan State wins normally when they're on an equal playing field. But this is the first time in a long time, I guess, that both teams are on an equal playing field, and MSU did not win the game. And that is just what sucks, because what would have come out of this win should MSU have won? I think going into this game, Sherrone Moore had a lot more to lose in this one, because look, if you lose to Michigan State, it's not just, you missed Paul Bunyan, you erased a 49-0 deficit that you had last year just in 1 year. They also would have been battling for bowl eligibility after this one. That would have been a really bad loss on their end. Whereas Michigan State, look, I'm not saying anyone should celebrate whatsoever. I know I'm not going to sleep till 5 a.m. tonight. But you know what? Anyone with a clear mind and anyone from the outside looking in can tell you, okay, fine. They lost on the road. Year 1 of a rebuild. It is what it is. But man, the opposite on the end of the spectrum there is if you won that game. What would that have meant for Jonathan Smith? Well, first of all, you don't have a bunch of people questioning if you know enough about this rivalry and, you really belong here, I guess. Not my words. That's a lot of other people's that we'll get to on the other side of this break here in a little bit. But you would have made a seismic boom across recruiting regionally. All right. I know this game was stashed away on Big Ten Network at 7:30, and everyone else is watching whatever games are on actual mainstream cable. All right. But there are eyeballs on you with 2026, 27, 28 recruits, right? Could you close the gap that much? Can you show development with your players that much where the school down the road really hasn't shown it? Well, so far, no. That was not because you didn't win. So that's what you lose here. And also, too, to bring it back to bowl eligibility, but from the Michigan State side of things, you got 4 games left to get 2 wins. All right, and that's why last week's game against Iowa was so important here, because you did not want to go into this stretch needing 3 wins. Because, yes, you have Indiana coming up. All right, at home, sure, they might have their backup quarterback. That's still a team that's better than Michigan State. No question about it. Then, Illinois on the road. Yes, is Illinois a top 25 fraud team? Absolutely. They just got the brakes beat off them by Oregon. And whoever gets that treatment from Oregon at Autzen Stadium. Anyway, I think that's a pretty level playing field. That's one coin toss game. All right, Purdue coming in Friday night. Who knows? They could be starting guys like me throughout the entire defense and offense at that point. Fine. You probably lean to win that game. And then Rutgers at the end of the season, that's right between the coin toss and lean win, right? Home game, Rutgers has a really good defense, but man, if Callie McManus is still the quarterback, I do like State's chances, but still, all in all, 4 games left. You have to win 2 of them to get to bowl eligibility. And that is what defines success for this season. That's why today's loss also hurts too. It's not just the fact that you lost a really gettable Paul Bunyan game, but look, the long-term goal of this season is bowl eligibility. Came that short. If you do lose 3 of the next 4, we'll see. The sun will rise tomorrow and the day after that, and eventually, yeah, we will get back onto the rest of the schedule, but what a stupid loss. What a stupid loss. All right, we're going to get into your thoughts, and then I'm going to just give my thoughts on your thoughts. But first, you need to talk your ears off about Gametime, the greatest spot to buy tickets. Folks, that's right, we just said it. Yeah, Indiana's coming to town not too far from now. Go ahead and get those tickets over at Gametime, the greatest ticketing app out there. Even in as horrible of a mood as I am in right now, I'll still talk up Gametime because they are the greatest ticketing app out there. Why? Well, because they make it very simple. Just toggle on the all-inclusive pricing, and they're not going to surprise you with fees at the very end. It's not going to be like 17 clicks, and by the end, oh my God, why are these $40 tickets? All of a sudden, $96. No, Gametime keeps it easy because they give you the upfront price, and it's also just 2 taps, bang. Tickets are sent straight to your phone, guys. There is no hijinks, no kerfuffle with Gametime. It's so simple, and a person that is just technologically stupid like myself, well, that's why I love Gametime. They take the guesswork out of buying tickets. When you go to find your view of tickets, well, they give you an actual picture of your seats that you will be buying. Again, guys, it is just so simple with Gametime. Try it for yourself. Go to Gametime, download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It is game time. And what time is it? It's time to read your thoughts here on Twitter. Oh, my goodness. It's the hope that really hurts you as a sports fan. All right, that's not your thoughts. I see. Here I am. I'm losing my sight on what we're supposed to be doing right now. All right, guys. I said, give me your thoughts. I guess we're just gonna go down the list here. Brandon writes in: staff losses the game. Players fought ish until the end. I don't even think it was ish. I think they worked pretty hard. You can't question the mentality of the players in this one. I thought I just across the board, the only thing that you can question mentality wise is the penalties, of course, but that's not a didn't care about the rivalry thing or anything on top of that. This staff was incredibly just underwhelming, I guess, because I don't. Here's where I'm at a loss right now because, yes, they did run the ball a crap ton against a pretty good run defense in Michigan, and it worked to the start. But my issue was here, like late in the game, when you're down 14 points, why the handoffs? Like, you can throw the ball downfield beyond the sticks. Like, sure, if you're praying to score, which they did, stop Michigan's defense, which they did, and then score again, which you almost did, well, that's still razor-thin margins to work on, right? You can sling the ball downfield with the quarterback, like we've said and like you've seen. That has improved week to week. Especially with, and forgot to mention this at the top, Michigan's injury report comes out. Everyone's dead. Will Johnson's gone. That's the time to throw the ball. I thought. Again, not the whole game. You clearly had a good game playing the first 3 quarters, but when you're down 14 points, woo-wee. And then Pivot Tables writes in, like it or not, MSU is the little brother. We coach like it, we play like it, we behave like it. If you have brothers, you know exactly what it looks like, and it's so embarrassing. I have a little brother, and I got to say, he bucks a lot of little brother cliches right there. But no, did MSU play like the little brother in this game? Now, that's a statement that I really have to sit on and think. They just played silly. So I guess if you have a younger brother that's a silly goose, I guess. What? The biggest criticism that I've seen too as it pertains to, like, the little brother thing, playing not to lose, is the onside kick after they kick the field goal. When it comes to the onside kick, you see the replay, and it's clear they were looking for a look, which is what they got. They played it tight on the inside. I believe it was like 6 total Spartans bunched up in the hashes against Michigan's front. That's 15 yards away from the kicker with just 3 guys against the hashes. That play should work. My biggest takeaway wasn't why would they call the onside kicks there. It was, and I know it was a flag and it would have been overturned anyway. I was just in awe how Michigan State didn't even get that ball because they had the numbers advantage there. The call, again, the coaching staff has a lot of blame to take for this game. I don't think it was with that, though, because they had them outnumbered significantly. It wasn't like, oh, MSU had 6 players to Michigan's 5. Like, I can't believe they actually didn't come up with the ball. Again, moot point, because Michigan got the ball and Michigan would have gotten it regardless because of a penalty. But yeah, I get not being for the onside kick because Michigan State just let up 3 straight scores and the defense had their backs up against the wall and they later bailed them out. Michigan went 3-0 after that, but I didn't hate that look, and I don't think that was coaching not to lose or coaching scared or coaching weird. I think that was actually a pretty advantageous call right there. It's very Dan Campbell of them, but it didn't work, so of course he looks stupid when it happens. Now Carter writes in, we exist against our will and we will all die someday. Carter, I can't wait for that moment. That's going to be awesome. That's so morbid. Alex writes in, disappointed. Alex always writes in great questions and comments to this show. Thank you very much, Alex. Disappointed. We won the rushing battle. Defense did enough, exposed at times, and left points on the board. Michigan's pressure on Childs slowed our passing game while we couldn't pressure their quarterbacks. That was crazy too, man. That ultimately was the difference in this game. I'm excited to see the excited to completely wrong word to use. I'm looking to see those Pro Football Focus numbers on pressures because it, just like Alex pointed out, whether it was the 4-man rush or you guys are sending blitzers, there truly did not seem to be a lot of pressures. I can only think of 3 at the top of my head, but yeah. Also, I didn't mention this. Guys, I'm so sorry. If I could just pull behind the curtain, and who really cares about this? I was doing notes on my laptop in this hotel. The internet crashed, and I'd used Google Drive, which is very internet dependent. I lost all my notes, which one of my notes was that, that's 3 times I've caught myself. How the heck do you just let Colston Loveland open twice? He's the only threat they have on offense. And you let him run wild like a stallion in a field twice. That's unbelievable. Sammy writes in, this was a coaching staff loss, developed the run early and did not utilize play action against a weaker secondary. Where was play action? Loveland was the biggest threat tonight, and he was allowed open on too many occasions. Seems like that is something you scheme for. Yeah, especially with that trick play with Donovan Edwards getting the ball, and I understand that, go to the run is what Malik Spencer was thinking right there. You already had 6 hats going to the ball. Like, Malik, you were going to be the 7th Spartan there, and I get you want to be aggressive and tenacious, but that's also a first-round draft pick, Colston Loveland, running right behind you. Like, number 18. I'm sure number 18 was pointed out at least once or twice in the film room leading up to this game. Again, I'm not a football player. I haven't been in a film room past high school, but I would assume that the only tangible threat they have on offense would at least pop up just once. Oh, I'm about to scream so loud. I'm about to wake up both kids and my wife. Oh, man. And here's Lynch Adams enthusiast. He writes in, hey, here's a new thought, guys. Why didn't MSU decide to cover Michigan's only offensive threat once? Loveland, of course. And why didn't they change any bit of formation when Orji was subbed in? I thought they did fine when Orji was in. Everyone knew that they was going to run, and he did. He's a tough runner, and it worked out. Ryan writes in, why weren't we throwing downfield when we clearly established the run? Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And yeah, I'm sorry I got this far in the show without railing against that. But yeah, a complete lack of play action was baffling. A lot of this is baffling. Again, we were the underdogs in this game. It shouldn't hurt this much, but it goes back to what we just talked about at the start of the show. That's not just the worst Michigan team you're going to see the worst Michigan team you've seen in a while. but also probably the worst Michigan team you'll see in quite some time, because I can't describe to you how really bad that Michigan team is. I think you saw it too, guys. I mean, that's a team that, of course, lost to Illinois. Should have lost to Minnesota. It's like, how do you not come out with a win in that game? Oh, I'll tell you why. It's the 4 drives and just the little stupid mistakes that you made. Like Spence writes in, better team lost. MSU plays that game 10 times. They probably should win 6 of them. But what happens when the margin for error is that thin? It's that the team that does the little things correctly wins. And that's what Michigan did. No false start. And that's the thing about the penalties, too. It's not like they're ticky-tack. Yeah, sure, the targeting on Jordan Turner was ticky-tack. I'm not going to sit here crying about it, though. Was it a tough call? I guess, but that's college officiating. They also missed Michigan not subbing at all. We were allowed to sub in what looked like 57 players on the field early in that game. You take advantage of things throughout a game with college officiating. It's not like it was laced with horrible calls like the 2013 Notre Dame game. Does anyone know a good liquid to cut with this laundry detergent that's all the way up here? Because I might be finishing the night on that one right there. Oh, God. Guys, I'm so sorry I didn't get to a lot of your thoughts right here. I mean, a lot of them are just like Jay writes in, coaches lost us the game. I wonder if Michigan runs the ball when Orgy comes. I wonder if Michigan runs the ball when Orgy comes in the game. I swear to God. I was just thinking, once they're going to throw the ball, right, with Orgy against us. It'll be like a trick play of sorts, but no, they just keep running the guy, and it didn't work out. Beth writes in, hope the Dodgers get buried. Yeah, same too, of course. It's not just because I spite Jonathan Smith for this game. Of course, I'm very disappointed with that. That was not great for him to just say at the sideline report, yeah, I could have called a timeout to go for it. And then again, I need someone to correct me on this. I think MSU went into halftime with timeouts in hand. That's so bad. That's so bad. Are you about that life, or are you not about that life? Lining up to go for it on 4th down, set the tone early, which what you had to do against Michigan, what we talked about in the pregame show, you got to score early. And I know that you want to do that for every game, of course. Scoring points matters in football. Yeah. But for this game specifically, where both teams are mentally, that's a Michigan team that, could have cratered early on in this game. You gave them reason to stick around. You could have put the dagger straight in their aorta if you just, touchdown, first 2 drives of the game. You're up 14-0. Bang. See ya. Good night. Paul Bunyan's at our house, but he's not. And that's why I'm stuck, sitting down, crisscross applesauce in a closet, like the sad boy that I am. Do I even want to click on these YouTube comments right now? Yeah, I'll do it. Who cares? No, don't give me the. Yeah, okay, yeah. One go blue. That's fine. What do you think about our coaches overall so far? Amir writes in, what do you think about our coaches overall so far? I think fine. Unfortunately, they look pretty bad in one game so far this season. Then it's this one. The biggest game on the season. That's it. Yeah. That's what I think. Steve writes in, blah, blah, blah. You got beat by the worst Michigan team in 15 years. Yeah, Steve, that's why I'm so sad right now. This isn't like last year, when we knew that we were going to walk to the electric chair and get zapped before they even belted us in. No, this was a tremendously, tremendously gettable game. Someone writes in, Buckeyes by 30 in November. I don't care. Ohio State's dead to me. They could have done anything to fix any of our issues the last few years. MSU held up their end of the bargain in 2021. I don't care about the Ohio State-Michigan game anymore. So that's, no. It's a fake rivalry. That's a corporate rivalry anyway. Those games don't end with fights in the field. All right? That's what this is a true rivalry. I mean, yeah, I know everyone's going to, clutch their pearls and be like, oh my God, another fight between these two teams. This shouldn't happen. No, that's what this rivalry is. I mean, it's just whether you like it or not. It's not some manufactured, hey, both teams go to a neutral field and we'll hold hands and tailgate together. No, there's a lot of hate in this rivalry, and it'll always be like that. So, there we go. Guys, gals, whoever you are, love you. Go green. Take care of yourself. We will, against all odds, be back early this week. We do this 5 days a week here on Locked On Spartans. If this is your first show you listen to, well, you picked a great one. And if you are a loyal listener, well, I can't thank you guys enough either. I wonder if I put myself in the dryer and put on Spin Cycle, what would happen? All right, we're going to find that out. See ya.